when we were playing Resident Evil 4, we would get to the parts where they would talk about the Las Plagas, which is the disease,
the bug.
and it never failed to make me. I had to restrain myself from wheezing laughing because I was the only one laughing. But they would go Las Plagas, and Craig would go El COVID-19.
Oh gosh, yeah, I remember.
Every time they brought it up, he was like, Craig would just be like, oh no, he's going to get COVID. And it was just really fucking funny for some reason. It was really stupid. We're now entering the age where because sort of getting out of 2021, it was everybody's making fun of how comedians were going to sound with COVID jokes. And it's it's not fucking funny. And I was also like, yeah, it's not funny. But now that we're getting a little further away, it's like, it's a little funny. Sometimes it's a little funny.
You have to work through your trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone.
Did you
everyone
say
has different
I
ways
guess?
of coping.
As if
I guess.
I guess. You know, all right, that's
It's
fine.
whatever.
We'll
You're not that funny.
yeah, that's true. That's actually true. Oh, I do need to adjust
Come on,
the
bless.
camera a little bit here.
Oh, you're right.
But Jack Ray is on the podcast.
Ooh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you finally decided to. Oh, hello!
Whoa,
wow,
whoa.
super isolated shot. Hey, how you doing?
Can we get like a title card?
Oh, yeah, like a da 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 da. Oh, my anime pose.
Do it.
I'm gonna use that later.
I'm gonna regret that photo someday, I think. But yeah, no, I'm so glad you decided to let me back on the podcast. I know last time I was on a computer in my living room,
And we made Legos.
Yes, and we made Legos,
No.
Wow, that was a long
and
time ago.
then I was never on the podcast again.
Never again. We always talked about
but now
how
I'm
we
back.
never wanted you to be
Yeah,
on.
we always isolate Jack.
Yeah. No, it was Craig's idea because we're gonna do Eberron tomorrow. It was just gonna be some sort of fun hype stuff. Even though this is going up Monday, but that means that we just did Eberron.
You'll
which
have
is
already
super fun.
seen the first episode,
Exactly.
ideally.
But right now, this is us right before we're about to play, and super excited. I really wanted to do a trailer for Strixhaven. I just ran out of time, and I love that we're getting to do it with this game because, dude, it's so hype. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it turned out really good.
The
I'm really
art,
impressed with it.
Oh, thanks. The art that Julio did is amazing, and
Shout out to our artist Julio Azevedo. He's fantastic.
did so good.
So good.
And
And Travis
Travis,
Savoy, of course,
yes.
friend of the stream, friend of
Yes.
the pod. Travis Savoy.
made that
Just
theme. Oh,
so good.
so
So
good.
good.
So good. So yeah, really.
Travis has this amazing way of taking what is like a 15-minute voice note that I have made him about me rambling about what the game is and what I would like to hear and what edits I would like to make about the things he sent me, and he is like, I got it, and then he sends me an update, and it's exactly what I asked for.
Dude,
He's so skilled, And then Julio, if you ask him to make edits, it's hey, we actually need Stick's eyes to be green. It's all right, boom, there you go. Or it's hey, we need Rena's highlights to be greener. He's all right, done. There you go.
It's so good. I know we talked about this a bajillion times already, but I just want to say it on the podcast. What I was so impressed by is we've gotten lots of D&D character art in the past, and it's very good. We have tons of stuff that looks great.
We're very fortunate to work with an awesome, have worked with so many different artists.
But you sort of sought out Julio,
Yes.
and he and you worked with him, and we all sent you references and stuff for this character art.
Yeah, Julio's done. I found Julio first because he did work for Eberron setting creator Keith Baker, of course, for his third-party Eberron content.
Yeah.
And I was shoot, if I get to choose the artist, I want this guy's my first choice.
Yeah.
So I emailed him, and I didn't hear back from him for a day, and I was like, oh no, I hope we get him. And then he emailed me, and he's like, yes, I'll totally do it. So
and what he has managed to do with this character art is I love that we're getting to see unique styles of different artists and stuff, because what he did is he was able to really make everybody look so unique while still within his style. Not only is he really good at just shading and rendering objects, fucking this is after it's gone up. So Roy's pockets just look so good in his crossbow and stuff, but everybody's bone structure and faces are all different, and there's little things scar across Stick's face, a little scar on Azeraphis, and just little things about all of them that look so different and make them look really unique. And I was just so impressed by that. He did really, really good, while also being here's a Warforged, and then he just looks awesome. So yeah, he did great. He did so good. really impressed by that. And then Travis knocked it out of the park with the music. It's so like different than what like he's normally done before, but it's very like it's sort of dark and we all kept saying it reminded us of like a TV show intro. Like we were like, yeah, this is just that good, you know. So it's pretty cool.
What do you guys think of the art and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's great.
Yeah, extremely talented.
The intro reminds me of Daredevil.
A
little bit.
music, yeah. The yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. Travis messaged me just now, actually. He was like, what should I call this piece? Because I'm going to publish it like today or tomorrow. And I was like, let me think about that. I was like, I don't know like what I'd want to call it. And I ran through like a bunch of stupid names in my head. And then I remembered that I think there's this Eberron like short story or adventure called Steel Shadows that takes place in Sharn. And I was like, that's the perfect name. Like, let's just call it that. And because it's like, it takes place in Sharn. It's a little Eberron reference for an Eberron theme, you know? It's like, and Travis was like, great, we'll do that. So
That's cool.
stream Steel Shadows by Travis Savoy.
Yeah, you should. It's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, he's uploading it too, so it'll be pretty awesome. Also, little thing that we haven't gotten yet. I contacted James RPG Art, who had done some of the art for. He has a Patreon where he makes art for just
cool.
various like D&D pre-writtens, but also just his own stuff, and he animates them. And we had contacted each other before, never really like figured anything out, but we met and we talked, and he's going to do 2 pieces for us that are going to be like animated. One of them's going to be Strixhaven, and the other one's going to be Calistan.
That's so cool.
So excited, yeah. So it's gonna be pretty cool. So lots of cool
excited
stuff.
for that.
Lots of cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's gonna be neat. But this is the Eberron Hype podcast episode. So I really just wanted to jump into like why. Okay, I guess without going like into your entire life backstory here, Jack. What about Eberron is so like somebody on Twitter was like, "Are you GMing?" And I'm like, I could never GM Eberron.
You totally could.
I could. It
You
would have to
totally
be
could.
extremely isolated, but it's just not something that I'm just so like attached to and know very well. What about Eberron have you attached to? What about it do you like enjoy so much? And
That's a good question.
why are you so good at knowing everything about it?
I think it's the potentially undiagnosed ADHD that like makes me hyper focus on that.
For sure.
But no, I remember the first time I was exposed to Eberron was actually when I was like really young, because there's that terrible MMORPG DDO D&D Online. It's like Eberron Unlimited, and I played it for like a couple days when I was a kid.
There's
and
an
I was like,
Eberron MMO.
yeah.
That's
I hear it's pretty bad. I don't know. I barely remember it, and I think the consensus is that it's not super great. But
Well-
it's a WoW clone, so it's kind of inevitable. And then I just kind of forgot about it for a while, and I knew that it was like a thing. And then I remembered one of my friends invited me over. He was like, "Hey, I'm going to run a game in Eberron." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And so like I was like, I wanted to make a character that like fit that world. And so I was like looking through Wayfinder's Guide was the only thing out at the moment. So I was looking through that, and I was like, this setting is super fucking cool. I think what made me like latch onto it the most is that Keith Baker, the setting creator, of course, like took all of the things that already exist in Dungeons and Dragons and took like the tropes that are associated with them and kind of turned them on their head and kind of presented everything in a different light. And it was unlike a lot of other fantasy settings in the D&D kind of roster, in that, evil and good wasn't like as clearly defined. There were a lot more shades of gray in the middle. No D&D setting that I know of prior to Eberron ever tried to like tackle noir as like subject matter or a genre. And I think just the idea of kind of like, obviously it's fantasy, but it still feels pretty real, because it's like takes place in this like post-war era, this kind of like Cold War sort of thing with like there's espionage and there's noir and there's corruption and there, it's like people are just like there's all this tension and there's so many different stories that can unfold. And I think that's the second part that I latch onto is that Keith Baker and all the people that worked on it at Wizards, they intentionally made a lot of awesome like factions and plot points and things, locations and things like that, with all these mysteries attached to them. Like, we don't know what caused the morning that destroyed the nation of Seer and ended the last war. We don't know what the mark of death, the one dragon mark that was like completely wiped out, actually did. Because
that's what always separates it from me. Like with how I see Keith Baker's writing is he always injects a lot of mystery, kind of into the world, and I think that that's just so interesting that like he doesn't just make a world, just be like, okay, here's a world just to like, this is my creation that I made. Like, he probably feels that way, but there's this aspect that he's like, okay, but you get to kind of define this on your own, and you get to kind of make this your thing, which I think is really, really cool.
I've had the pleasure of playing like 3 or 4 different D&D games with Keith Baker.
That's so cool.
He's fantastic. He's so cool. And he is like storyteller DM first, storyteller first. If there's something that like mechanically shouldn't happen, he'll be like, if it makes a cool story, let's just roll with it. Yeah. And that's his philosophy with designing Eberron, was that he didn't want to give anyone clear answers for things because he wanted them to come up with them on their own to fit their story.
And that's so cool because there's that priority on like different types of players, because you can definitely be deep into the lore, but you also have this like priority of like action and story, which I think is just so cool. It makes a really fitting setting. But oh my god, it's complicated. Holy shit! What do you mean, Spencer? Why do you think it's complicated?
Just for some things that I was looking up for my character, I was like, I don't know what's going on.
There's a lot of like words. It's like, because you'll be like, okay, what is this? And then it's like, it's this, and this. I'm like, that's 4 titles I now have to learn.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I don't know. I disagree that it's more complicated. I think it's more complicated because it doesn't fall into like typical sort of fantasy tropes. It's a little more complicated in that regard. But I would say that if you look at like the lore of Eberron and you look at the lore of the Forgotten Realms,
Sure.
Eberron is much easier to digest because there's not quite as much. Like, I don't know, Forgotten Realms goes back to like all the way to like exactly what happened during the creation of the world with like the progenitor races and the lizard people and how they made humans or whatever. I don't know. I haven't read that shit in years. But Eberron is like, maybe thousands of years ago, 3 dragons fought each other and now Eberron exists, is basically what happened. And it's like, great. See, that's not complicated at all.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think Forgotten Realms is like default D&D. So I think a lot of people feel really comfortable in that setting.
Yeah.
And so the lore isn't like super important.
So I guess what I've noticed in a difference between the two is that, because I love both. And I know on the podcast years ago, to be like, Forgotten Realms sucks. That's not really
Forgotten Realms
necessarily
is fine.
true.
Forgotten Realms is cool.
It's actually fine, purely because there's a lot of stuff in there that I think is really neat, like the Netherese and the Nine Hells, both of which are super cool. But I think when you are going to go into the world of the Forgotten Realms, you can kind of just be a guy.
That's true.
And the game is just like, there's a tons of guys all over the place. Well, Eberron's like, well, where are you from? Well, that place has all of these things. And if you're from there, you would know about this. And it's like, okay. So it's not that, I think you're right. There's definitely, there's way more history in the Forgotten Realms. But I think there's a little more homework you have to do with Eberron sometimes. Yeah. But I think that's a part of the charm.
Exactly.
Part of why it's really fun.
Whenever I play in a game, I really want to make a character that is like rooted in the world, and so I like to do that research. I like to make myself have things to do. Like if I'm playing a game in the Forgotten Realms, I research like where do I want my character to come from? Like what's the deal with Waterdeep? Yeah. Like what goes on here? What's around it? Like what has happened to it in the past? Like all that stuff.
Yeah,
but and so with Eberron, there's such a rich collection of like factions and of course like 100-year-long war that your character was definitely affected by, regardless of whether or not they fought in it. And just so much like so much trouble that comes from coming out of a war that long, and how the world has kind of like been broken in that sense, and potentially you can fix it.
I think I've always said, when trying to describe like even Dragonlance or the other ones, it's almost like the same language but different dialect.
Yeah,
like you can go, well, I understand that sentence. I could probably make educated guesses on what that actually means because I've been into something similar.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the question's less about like Forgotten Realms is more of a question of where you're at, and Eberron's more of a question of when you're at.
that's the thing too, is a lot of times what I see in D&D worlds is like the DM or the writer creates the world, and when you make a character, it's sort of like, okay, now these two things have to meet. You have to envelop yourself in the world. While I feel like Eberron, with what you just kind of described, almost kind of does the opposite, where it's like you create your character and the world kind of happens to you. How does your character react to that? Whatever your reaction is going to change it and form the adventure, which I think is really cool. A lot of times in like the pre-written adventures for like D&D and stuff, it's like, oh, this thing is happening. Like it happened. And it's like, all right, can I ignore it? Yeah. All right. Well, then I will.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and I think it's interesting you bring up Dragonlance, because I've started reading the Dragonlance books recently, like what is it, Dragons of Autumn Twilight, the first one. I've been reading it for like a year now. I'm doing my best. It's good, but it's just like I don't have a lot of time to like sit down and read. But it's interesting because in a way, Dragonlance and Eberron are both like post-apocalyptic settings in that, you know, Dragonlance had like the cataclysm and things went to crap there, and then Eberron, of course, or at least, you know, a part of it had the last war, and that has kind of changed the world, and that world has like quote unquote ended, and now like a new one is unfolding in it, and people have yet to see like what will happen as a result of that. So it's just funny that you bring up Dragonlance. I was like, oh, they're actually kind of similar now that I think about it.
I think most of them are probably because of the nature of how they've spawned from one another. Because even Forgotten Realms based on the idea that something has ended and something's beginning again.
That's true.
Like there's always an apocalypse that resets.
That's true.
Like extended universe.
Yeah. What's the thing you like about Eberron, Spencer?
Oh, I just had something to say about what you guys were talking about earlier.
Oh, please.
It was just funny because in the session 0, Jordan's character just from the accent that Stick has knows where he's from, and that means something.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's just crazy because in Forgotten Realms, it's like, oh, I'm from over here, and it means nothing.
Yeah.
But just based on
who
fought in the war and what they were doing in the war.
In Eberron, one of the things that people like about it a lot is that people are probably going to hate you a lot more for your nationality than for whatever race you are. Yeah. Like it's like if you're a goblin from Brayland and you meet another Braylish guy, he'll be like, all right, cool, you know, we're chill. But if you're like a goblin from Ondare, it's like, screw you, dude.
The cool thing is that there's that, and there's also like the way you pronounce certain nations can influence what your history is with it. Like if you're from Drome, you pronounce it Drome. But if you're not from Drome, a lot of people often pronounce it Droam.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Well, that's something I think Jordan told me that.
I did not know that at all. No, it's funny because like you all treat me, you're like, oh, that's the king of Eberron right there. He knows everything. I don't. I really don't. There's still so many things that about it that I have like not even touched or understood. Artemis is making references that I do not understand. Jordan
knows a fair amount.
Jordan knows quite a bit. Jordan and I.
But I think you both are like puzzle pieces sometimes, where it's like he'll not know something and you'll know it, and then you'll not know something and he'll know it, and it's like that's kind of the cool part, is that we all have like a different experience with it, so we all just get to fill in those blanks, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it's a great setting. If you haven't played in it, you should totally check it out. It is. I mean, I'm biased. It's my favorite setting that, you know, D&D has ever created. And the story of how it was created is very cool. And, you know, just all of it is very cool, how it's evolved over the years.
It's so hard to describe sometimes, too, but Grace nailed it in the chat yesterday. She called it Arcane Punk, and I was like, that's what it is.
Yeah, a lot of people assume it's steampunk, but it's not.
It kind of is.
It kind of is. Like, of course, it draws from that genre and a bunch of others.
Visual stuff.
I think it's just because, and that was the hard part about like coming up with like ideas for music and ideas for art for this, is because I feel like the style of Eberron is so unique and the art is a little underrepresented from the old books, and we're getting new stuff now with now that like Rising from the Last War and Wayfinders is out, and then people are allowed to make like third-party Eberron content now, which is super cool. But like it was so hard to like visualize and like show someone, be like this is what I think Eberron looks like. And so I think a lot of people just jump to steampunk because they're like, oh, there's airships and magical technology, steampunk, and it's like, well, that's a bit reductive, but yes.
Well, I also think I think you could. Like, that's the thing, is like you can make Eberron steampunk if you really want to, but like I think the more you delve into it, the more you realize it's just like a big variety of things. What always grounds me to remembering what Eberron is it's like This is a world that is like, to me, more grittier and realistic, but it has lived with magic for a long time.
Yeah,
it's like the magic is the focus,
Yes.
and then the nations and the people are the focus as well. And
Yes.
it's like that's why you have airships and things like that. But they don't have big balloons; they have elementals in a ring.
It's a world where magic and how people use it has basically defined the progression of society and technology as opposed to science.
Which is super interesting. Yeah.
Yes, and each different society has kind of a different focus on what kind of magic. So like most of the 5 nations, which is like the with the default sort of nations of Corvair and Eberron, use arcane magic, but then there's some that use divine magic in their everyday life. In the Eldeen Reaches, they use druidic magic in their everyday life and stuff like that. And it's just really cool how much thought kind of has gone into that. Like if you go on Keith Baker's blog, oh, what a treasure trove of knowledge straight from the mouth of the creator. It's so
I was
fantastic.
trying to figure out stuff about my backstory, and I just Googled stuff, and I was like, "Oh, Keith just wrote like a huge thing about this."
Yeah.
Yummy.
If you're ever reading an old Eberron source book and like from 3.5 or one of the newer ones, and you're like, God, I wish I had more information about this, or I'm not sure how I feel about this. Go to Keith Baker's blog, and he has probably written an article about it, and you will be like, this is the coolest thing ever.
So, Spencer, which one of the nations is your character involved in?
No, he doesn't.
When none of my why not?
Well,
Well,
maybe go
why are
watch-
you afraid to say it? Why are you
maybe
afraid
go
to say
Gotta
it?
watch the
Yeah,
show.
go watch
Yeah, I
the
feel like
show.
if
Gotta
it-
watch
I
the
feel like
show.
if it was Braylon, it'd be. I feel like it'd just be obvious. You just say it. So
Yeah, maybe. Where are you from?
let's go to questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's move on to questions. You guys can ask us questions over on Twitter. I posted some memes that I made.
Thank
in our
you all
group
for
chat.
listening to me talk about Eberron for a while. I appreciate it. It's one of my favorite things to talk about.
I would listen to listen to you.
I would-
to watch
I would
you
watch-
talk
I
about
would-
Eberron.
when Jordan and I were having our conversation at the beginning of the session 0, you were like,
my
I
God.
could watch this for hours.
Guys, you have no idea. I'm not trying to be like, the show's gonna be fucking awesome. This game's gonna be amazing. But when we did a session 0, the first 10 minutes where it was just you and Jordan's character Roy just talking. I was like,
Me as one of the NPCs.
you two just going back and forth with your isms and your fucking Eberron terms, but also in your accents and just you it was on the spot. It was I was like, I don't want to play anymore.
Well,
It can
you
just be
you
this.
let the theater kids talk to each other,
Oh, so
you
good.
know,
So good.
it was gonna happen, but yeah.
I love that. Yeah, the first result is you putting Eberron in Forgotten Realms.
I'm not gonna explain what that means.
It's funnier to not.
It's funnier to not.
Yeah.
Just know it's very funny.
Yeah. Summer in the Lock Tomb asks, I know by the time this comes out, we will have the first episode of Eberron, but in one word, how would you describe the party for Eberron? And then it ends with, also, Craig, ...
There's a little bazinga.
No, it just ends. It just says, also Craig.
Oh, hell yeah.
As if they're like,
Bazinga myself.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, you did bazinga yourself.
The
You
Phantom
didn't
Bazinga.
say it.
I thought
You
they
did
were
it.
asking if
Phantom
Craig was gonna
Bazinga.
be like in it.
No,
He'll be
these
here, though.
motherfuckers are
It is more
Bazinga
likely
Craig all the
if
time.
they used the hashtag. It was the Phantom Bazinga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I haven't watched the podcast
That's
in
it.
a while.
No,
That's it.
that's
Oh,
it.
okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay,
So
sweet.
sometimes someone
Every
will just go,
time,
"Hey, Bazinga."
sometimes at the end they'll be like blah 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 blah. Also Craig Bazinga, and Craig's always like no,
That's funny.
and that's it. But so they
So describe-
it was very subtle. It's just also Craig.
That's funny.
Also
you
Craig.
know,
Yeah.
you did it,
You
and then
know,
you
you
just
know.
said it. You
Yeah.
just did it to yourself.
That's so funny.
We have the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What is
I
the
know it is.
what is the color of
Yeah,
night?
yeah.
Bazinga.
Bazinga, you're like, damn.
Bazinga, my brother.
What is the music of life?
Bazinga. I don't know why I'm leaned away from the mic. Welcome home, Sheldon. Embrace Sithis, Sheldon. Embrace the void.
One word to describe the party for Eberron, I would say unhinged.
That's one word for it.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. It's gonna be hard to beat Icewind Dale. This is probably be one of my favorite parties ever because we interact with these characters a little bit. And I'm like, fuck.
I'm gonna say
They're morally
Yeah.
gray.
I'm gonna say scrappy.
Yeah,
This is.
that's
I
a
was
good
telling
one.
Jacob, I was like, this is probably the scrappiest party that Arcane Arcade has ever assembled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't start this on the podcast.
Happy, you're hungry.
Oh no.
Stick 'em, not throwing away my
We
shot.
can't. We cannot do this right now. I don't want to
When we
talk
first
about
got
this.
art back from Azeraphis, he looked like he had kind of a goatee, and Jack and I kind of laughed and thought he looked like Lin-Manuel Miranda, and we have not stopped making Azeraphis Lin-Manuel
so
Miranda.
funny.
I will remind me. I will post a bunch of voice memos I made in the Discord. You just have to at me.
Don't do it.
Spencer does not think it's funny.
It was funny the first time. Now does
We gotta go.
It's
These guys from Drone.
it's constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Osiris.
Yeah. I'm not throwing away my shot.
Papa guy.
Yeah, that was the funny one. Was the fucking you were
Papa
like
guy at the crack of dawn. Yeah.
how did-
Sorry, Lynn.
Lights up
I love
on
In the Heights. It's a great show.
Calistan Heights up at the break of day. I wake up
More like
and
Calistan Depths. It's like
I got a little
the
punk
sun
I
doesn't
gotta
even
blow
shine.
away.
Whoa, that's a better one. So yes.
Papa guy at the crack of dawn. All right, I'm done. I'm done. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm still thinking about it. Go to the next question.
Go to the next
Yeah.
question.
Craig, what do you
Yeah, what do
think?
you think?
One
What do you
word.
think? From your
Hot.
Your
outsider
outside perspective. Yeah.
The answer is hot.
The answer is why didn't you just make the
Well, that's Spencer. Spencer's is
That's mine.
hot.
Hot.
Care to elaborate, Spencer?
I don't know. For some
Have
reason,
you
my
seen Severin?
yeah. For some reason, my brain wanted to go to Dastardly.
That
seem like they're
fits.
gonna be a little-
They are dastardly. It's
are
true.
dastardly.
They're one step from twiddling a fake mustache.
Oh, for sure. They are. If any party was going to tie a girl to the train to the lightning rail tracks,
That's what's happening.
it would be this party.
They're old classic
game, and
villainy.
then it's like a group of heroes coming to stop. And they're like, oh, these are our main characters, and it's us on the train tracks. Like, oh shit, and then we kill them. It's like, oh, these are the main characters. Oh no!
I guess we have to save the world now.
Do you see the way she splattered across?
Oh my god.
Stick, did you see that?
I did. It was very gross.
That was great.
These two just bust into character sometimes, and it is the cutest
it is
thing
more
I have
likely-
ever fucking seen.
It is more likely that we see them normal than they are not.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
Role-playing
for
a character
sure,
that they've been.
for sure. But I know they told me that they do this in the car sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
where
Oh,
they
all
have
the time.
conversations
I
between
told her
Azeraphis and
about the
Stick.
one where you were talking about the lava, and I was like, and how like
So
Terra
fucking gross.
pushing somebody to lava would be like, oh, and kind of regret it, and Azeraphis would laugh. He'd just be like, Stick, if I cut off my hand and throw it in the lava, do you think you could grow it back? That was fucking awesome.
It's not how it works.
That's not how it
Yeah.
Turn you
Damn.
into
So
a
yeah, so
zombie?
we've got what did you say for your word?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. So we got scrappy, we got dastardly, we've got hot.
Hot.
I said unhinged.
Unhinged.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's good word art for them.
Pretty much. I also think it's really funny right now. Everybody's trying to guess which character is which, and I think it's. I really thought that me and Tyler would just get nailed for our characters because that's a girl in a hat done, and that's a tiefling done. No, they think I'm Severin. I could never.
They
play
also think
Severin.
Spencer is Severin.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I thought
That's
they
valid,
would.
though.
I thought that they would do that. I think Severin and Stick could.
I
be
think it's
either of them.
surprising that somebody thought Grace would play Azeraphis.
Yeah.
That is the funniest fucking thing right now.
No shade, no judgment to you at
Oh
all.
no! It's just how our relationship is. How I know Grace and Grace knows me. That is funny as fuck to me to be like, like nasty fucking tiefling.
Yeah, for real.
Emergent horror, chrysalis cast aside, which is Artemis.
Yep.
asks,
Hello, Artemis.
Jack, do you have a favorite Overlord and or Dale Kier?
Dalkir, yeah. So for those of you who don't know, the Overlords are basically all right. Strap in. Another lore dump. I'll make it short. You're so sweet. The Overlords are basically the native fiends of Eberron. They controlled the world back before humanity kind of rose to claim the world, and before the giants and before the dragons. Or not? Yeah, no, they were about the same time as the dragons. They were sealed away a long time ago because they were so powerful they couldn't be destroyed. And but there are still like cults for them and stuff. And then the Dalkir are sort of like the great old ones. They're from Zoriat, the plane of madness and stuff, and madness and stuff. And they wound up in the world, I think shortly after the Overlords, and they were also sealed away before they could make the world super weird. But they are basically if the Overlords are like the native fiends and want to do evil and conquer stuff and whatnot, the Dalkir are like the great old ones whose goals and things they want to do are like super inscrutable and weird, and nobody really knows what they're trying to do, but they're trying to change the world, and we don't like that, so we like the world how it is, so we need to seal them away too. Right. So As for like which ones are my favorite, I don't really have a lot of experience with most of them. I've read about pretty much all of them, but I would say my favorite overlord is probably Sul-Katesh. Sul-Katesh is also known as what is her like they have their true names, which people don't talk about because it's like that could like invoke them and invoke their power. Then they all have like titles. I need to look up what Sul-Katesh's is.
You know, but, Jack, I think I'm a big fan of the Dreaming Dark.
The Dreaming Dark is great. They're not an overlord or a Dalkir. They're a completely different thing. They are evil spirits from the plane of dreams that want to survive really like the destruction of their plane.
Lords of Dust.
There you go. That's the overlords.
Oh man,
I got one.
The Lords of Dust are like the servants of the overlords, technically. It's like they're Rakshasa servants. So Sul-Katesh. So Sul-Katesh also is called the Keeper of Secrets. She's basically like the default warlock patron, and she's like the keeper of forbidden knowledge. Very powerful magic that is definitely evil and will corrupt you and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There is a cult dedicated to her that is the coolest fucking thing I've ever heard. It's called the Court of Shadows, and when you become a part of it, you basically get like a cool title. I think the one that they like give in one of the books is you're like the Knight of the Forgotten Scripture or something like that. And it's basically people think that it's like a secret society of like scholars and stuff, but really it's like a cult. And then people believe in it that they need to like keep doing her will and like promote themselves in the cult so that they achieve higher rank, so that when Sul-Katesh returns and takes over the world, that is the rank that they will hold in her kingdom.
Can I change my character?
Yeah, totally. And so Sul-Katesh is probably my favorite overlord. And then as for Dalkir, Avash, the Twister of Roots. She is. I'm gonna probably use her in my upcoming Eldeen Reaches campaign that I'm running on the weekends that I don't run this. And I'm just oversaturating myself with Eberron. Hi Gabe. Hi Sin. Hi Sushi. Hi Meg. We're playing that one.
That's
and
so fun. That's
Avash
so cool.
is basically the is a Dalkir that is associated with like plants, and so she will like. She will like take plants that already exist and like make them into new ones, and sometimes they're good. One of the things that she created is a like a mushroom that is a commonly used for like healing potions creation. Oh, that's cool. Then there's another one called, I think they're called like wailing roses or something like that, where it's these patch of roses that scream, and then if anybody ever investigates them and they get pricked by them, they die, and then they fall into the roses and give them nutrition and stuff.
Oh, cool!
And
that's awesome.
And so yeah, she is a spooky plant Dalkir, and
that's awesome.
She's super cool. I really like her. Yeah,
that's so cool.
So yeah, spoilers for Eldeen Reach's game that isn't getting streamed. Sorry Sushi, sorry Gabe, sorry Sin. They're not gonna watch this. They might. Sushi might. But yeah, that's my answer.
That's very cool.
Sul-Katesh, the Keeper of Secrets for the Overlords, and then Avash, the Twister of Roots for
Very
Dalkir.
cool. That's so neat. Bochi asks, what do you guys like in Pathfinder that 5e lacks, and the other way around?
I like that you can upcast your spells.
The cantrips?
You can upcast your spells in 5e.
Well, not like that. That's not what I mean.
Are you talking about like heal and harm?
The action points can do different things with your spells. That's what I mean. Not upcasting.
Can you explain it?
So like specifically with heal, it's like a touch spell normally, I think, and then if you use like 2 action points, it gives it a range, and then if you use 3, it does full.
So in Pathfinder, instead of having action, move, reaction, bonus action, you do kind of have a reaction, but you instead have 3 actions. Everything in the game is determined by how many actions it takes. So moving your speed is 1 action. It's much like Fallout, which is I was gonna say that's my favorite part is the 3 actions.
Yeah, no, the 3 action system is great
because it allows for a lot more like they have a billion things you can do. They've thought of everything.
A lot of different actions.
It is cool that you can kind of be like, I'm gonna make that 1 action. I'm gonna make that 2 actions. Some other thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is that with your spells, they can be some of them can be better based on how many actions you spend doing it, which is fucking awesome, and I love that shit. And so I agree with you. We haven't played too much of it yet, but you know what? I'll pick a different thing because my favorite thing is that I can play a rogue and Jordan can play a rogue, and at level 1 we both have completely different abilities. That is the coolest thing. I fucking love that so much.
I would say the two things that I really like about the system, one is like kind of a long-winded explanation. The second one is a very short one. I'll start with the long one. Is the character customization possibilities, because when you pick like your ancestry, you don't have just like static abilities. You have stuff that you can choose from, and if you are say a tiefling, you can choose from multiple different pools because tiefling is like a template basically that you can put on top of another ancestry. So like in your case, you are a tiefling human, and so you can draw from both tiefling and human feat pools. And also at level 1, a lot of the classes already have their own specializations. Like sorcerers have so many different bloodlines that grant them different abilities and innate spells. Rogues have different rackets that can make them completely different. So like Jordan is like a mastermind rogue essentially, where he is basically he's like he's very smart. He's calling the shots. He's like sort of the leader of the group in a way. He's kind of the brains of the operation. And then you've got Azeraphis. You're an eldritch trickster or whatever.
They think that's what it's called.
Where you have like magic and stuff, and that's super fucking neat. So yeah, just the options
abilities
for
are just so fun.
And the options. So the options for character customization, you can have a party that is all the same class, and they can be completely different from each other, and it's very cool. The second thing, no opportunity attacks unless you're a fighter or unless you're a fighter.
Which is, I think that's cool that it's a fighter ability. Like that's super neat. It's something you can give to some people to make them stronger instead of making everybody stand next to each other and then not move.
Yeah, exactly. Pathfinder, you can feel free to move around the map as much as you want.
I love it.
In 5th edition, I feel like you just kind of have to stand around a lot because you don't want to get hit.
And it's so cool because in 5e, it's like, well, I have a move. Should I use it? No. You should probably just stand there. Okay, so I'm just wasting this, and I'm gonna do one attack.
And I'm
then
probably
Pathfinder can be like, I'm gonna move here, and then I'm gonna do something on my turn, and then on my next turn, I'm gonna take all 3 actions. And I'm gonna go bang, 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 bang. Like you can just attack. With
and then I'm gonna demoralize a guy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh,
it's very cool. It's so dynamic. It feels more. And that's why I wanted to run Eberron in Pathfinder, because Eberron is a very pulpy, action-focused, cinematic kind of place, and I didn't really want to just stick with 5th edition. Love 5th edition. 5th edition is great.
We've only been playing it for
several years since like 2014, almost 10 years now, basically. But giving everyone like so many different abilities to do. And I recently, played in a Fallout game, and it was honestly some of the most fun I've had playing a TTRPG in a very long time, because there was just so much that everybody could do, and it was just a very well designed system.
Oh,
not to toot Jacob's dick or anything, but.
Not to play like a flute.
I think that's what I'm starting to get bored with 5th edition, and so like whenever I play a character, they are multi-class to hell, because I don't want to just be like the standard shit anymore.
With Strixhaven 2, you're like, I want this and I want this. I'm like, hey, take whatever you want.
No, I know, yeah.
Classless system.
No, I know, it's great. I love it, and so with Pathfinder, being able to like make your character and be like, I want to do this turn, and I can do something completely different on my next turn. I don't have to just attack someone or cast a spell. I can interact with objects and demoralize people and maybe help people, or like look for something or hide or whatever, like, and it's
pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. Pathfinder 2e is great. Go check it out if you haven't.
Played Pathfinder, Craig?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like about it?
Original, and then I played a little bit of 2.
What do you like about it?
It's dense. Mm-hmm. It's dense. I think that's probably my favorite thing, and it's probably also its biggest like hindrance at the same time, is that any Pathfinder book, even like 1, was very, very dense.
No, super thick.
But if it's something like this, like I don't think I'd ever start anybody with it necessarily in the same way. I think you could, and I think some older Pathfinder products even like have like smaller versions of it. So
yeah, they definitely do.
Eases you into it. But I think for people like any of us who have played a TTRPG for probably more than a year or even 2, you get some stuff underneath you. Mm-hmm. It's challenging enough, and it's interesting, and it's super, super complicated. And maybe not complicated is the right word. Maybe it's complex.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy the ability to craft everything, and that's how it's always been.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel about this campaign. Is it's like Pathfinder has so much depth, and Eberron has so much depth that I don't know.
Yeah.
And so when you look at Strixhaven, or you look at Fallout. No, well, maybe not Fallout necessarily, but like other games that we've done in the past, like Icewind Dale or stuff. It's like I know 5th edition so well. We all know 5th edition so well. We know this world. We know this campaign. We all know what Magic the Gathering Strixhaven kind of is. We sort of have an idea of what this is going to be. Right now, I'm on the edge of a pit, and I can't see the bottom of either Pathfinder or Eberron. I don't know what this is going to be or where it's going to go, and that is so exciting. Like, that is so neat, because I've played in so many games before. Like, Witchlight is a lot of fun. I love Witchlight. I kind of know what's going to happen, where it's going to go.
Yeah.
There's some times where I'm surprised, but man, I don't know what fucking level 3 looks like. Like, I'm so excited.
That's good. I'm glad. It'll be. I'm excited
cool.
too. I also don't really know what's coming as far as levels go. I haven't really looked at the character options because that's none of my business. I should probably. I know all of your level 1 abilities for the most part, but yeah, no, it's going to be super fun. I'm glad you're excited.
Honkshoe Spencer, in quotations, Noodle Arms worst stan. I don't know if they're calling you Noodle Arms or if their name is Noodle Arms, the worst stan.
I think it might be because we arm wrestled that one time and I was out.
Oh, they call you Noodle Arms?
Yeah.
Wow,
Whoa.
that is brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, keep laughing.
Yeah, she's in training in the background.
Yeah, for real. You're sleeping on the couch tonight, my guy.
Oh, shit. Have y'all tried the new MTG format Oathbreaker?
No, I have not.
Have you?
I've heard of it.
Yes, but
What is it?
It's kind of like Commander,
Craig
isn't it?
rolled his eyes.
because it's that thing where it's like it's. The short answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's essentially all Oathbreaker is Commander. We pick a Planeswalker and they have a signature spell,
That's right. I remember that.
and then the Planeswalker itself has Commander attacks, and the signature spell also has Commander attacks.
So
So
you
it's
pick
based on the same thing.
you pick another card, basically?
Yeah, so you'd pick like Chandra, and then Chandra's like Blazing Inferno or something,
Oh.
or Jaya's Inferno, or you pick Jace, and then
That's
you pick
interesting.
like Gifts and Given, but the artwork has Jace on it or something. So you just pick like a Planeswalker and then like a flavored spell around them that you
That's
really like.
fun.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Seems like a neat idea.
Yeah, very, very similar though. I mean, there's a lot of variants of
Seems
it,
neat.
but yeah,
Seems neat.
it's good. It's good.
I don't know if I ever will play it though.
What kind of decks would y'all make for it as it centers on replayable Planeswalker and instant / sorcery? I would do
shoot.
that because I have a deck already that I want to play that's that, which is, I guess right now it's Neheb, but I guess I would just make it Chandra, and then there's the one spell that can make it's instant or sorcery. So I don't know. I have a ton of flame ones in there that I would probably pick from.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I haven't played Magic in a while.
First thing that comes to your head.
The first thing that honestly came to my head was like Basri and overcome everybody with soldier tokens, like mono white soldier tokens.
Yeah.
Perish. Spencer.
Any Liliana card.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. And what's
I
the
don't know
instant
about the
sorcery?
instant
Make
sorcery.
zombies?
Yeah.
Like Reanimate or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
There you go.
Reanimate would be
one
cool.
that's got her on it. It's really
Reanimate's
cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Honestly, that is the true way to make Magic the Gathering decks. Is like, which one is the coolest
Yeah.
looking? I'll make that one.
Liliana.
What would you do, Craig?
A Johnny Mentor of Heroes with Heroic Intervention.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
as
a good
fuck.
one. That's a
cool
really
as
good.
shit.
Heroic Intervention is a good signature spell. Being able to just freely cast
No.
any, well, not freely, but like have that always
Essentially,
available
it's always there.
because it's indestructible and hexproof, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
They also attached an image, and it's an article title. I will read it. It says, Wizards Council outlaws the testicular torsion spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about time. They've really needed
Really.
to get on
The
that.
influence of kinetic wizardry must be
I don't
curtailed.
see what the problem is.
You know, that makes sense. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
No.
I've seen how casually you cast that spell on people. Just walk around the street. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's a level 9 spell for you, Stick.
Yeah, I'm gonna upcast it.
Cast testicular torsion
used-
on Sol Katesh.
3 actions, and
Yeah,
it's gonna
3.
bury them and put a tombstone on top of them too.
Dude, that spell's
That
so
fucking spell
cool.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Pathfinder spell that kills somebody and then it makes
Fucking-
a tombstone.
Yeah, fucking
The
buries them.
the real
The
answer is
disrespect.
that the
Yeah.
fucking disrespect you can put on someone.
No, the Pathfinder spells are awesome.
Yeah.
fuck
Pathfinder
you.
spells are
And you
awesome.
get
Fucking
to
gut ropes.
Gut ropes,
decide
yeah.
what's
Gut ropes.
written on their gravestone. That's so
Oh,
fucking hard.
you're fucking dead. You're dead. Always
dead?
was a bitch.
You were a fucking loser.
Is a bitch. Died like a bitch.
It's all about the dash, baby.
Fucking
Fuck you.
gone.
Max Van Dalfson asks if you could kiss one Eberron character passionately on the lips, who would it be?
Is that like Eberron, is that Eberron characters like ours or Eberron like in general?
Open floor, Jack. Open floor.
I guess it is.
You're gonna kiss someone?
Technically, aren't they? They're now Eberron.
I guess yeah. Well, I'll let you two go first.
Rena, I mean
or you
Severin,
three.
what?
Severin is the correct answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Severin's good. Severin's good.
I can see
Everyone
how they
else can have a little kiss on their forehead,
Yeah,
except
yeah,
for
yeah.
that
you have,
nasty
you have to
Who's
wash
the
your
lich
forehead with a
lady
baby
in
wipe.
charge of the undead people?
Lady Ilmero.
I pick her.
There you go.
You'd kiss Lady Ilmero, the dead lady.
Yeah, and then I die.
Yeah, you probably
Then I
would.
die.
She would kill your
I
ass.
fade
Yeah.
away.
I I have like a joke answer. I would kiss the Lord of Blades, the Warforged supremacist leader who wants to kill all the fleshlings. And right before he'd like chop me in half, you know, it'd be cool. His design is super fucking awesome.
sorry,
Maybe he's never been
actually,
kissed on the head. Maybe he's like, you get to live.
Wow. You know what?
You chose love over hate.
Yeah, for real.
You
I'd kiss-
live.
Yeah, I'll kiss
The rest of
Beerbot
that city's
too.
gonna burn,
I'll give
though.
Beerbot a little smooch. I love
Oh
Beerbot.
shit!
What?
Soracatra.
Soracatra
Yeah,
is a good
that is
answer
a
as
good
well.
answer.
Soracatra would probably kiss you back, and then you'd probably be like cursed for 1,000 years.
That's my character's
What's the
backstory.
curse though?
Curse for 1,000 years.
That's a good question. Soracatra's whole deal is that you know, she makes bargains with people that seem like they would really benefit them, but
Yeah.
ultimately kind of fuck them over in the end. Which is something that Grace and Tyler and some of the other people that we did, I did an Eberron mini campaign with a couple years ago when we were on break for Avnia, found out when they made a deal with Soracatra.
That was a year and a few months ago, and it was. When
Oh
you had
no,
the
it was when
baby.
you had the baby. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The Marcy break.
Yeah, the Marcy break.
Yeah, it was a Marcy
The Marcy break. I believe I called the game Baby Balrog's Eberron Boogaloo because at that point Marceline was Baby Balrog.
Yes.
And Grace is playing the same character.
Yeah,
from
Grace
that
is
game.
playing Severin, but Grace didn't like how Champion kind of was super like alignment reliant.
Yeah, it is kind of dumb.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan
Pathfinder's
of that.
Paladin is like pick an alignment, bitch.
Yeah,
It's old school.
It's old school, and you know it's neat. Like it serves its purpose, but I think considering like how more freeing Paladin can be in 5th edition, I think it's the better class. Because like Laszlo in Evenfall, you know, he was a Paladin, but he wasn't like a Paladin.
Yeah.
He was like, I just really like my wife, and I can smite things now.
Yeah.
And then Severin. Severin's was cool because he flavored his paladin powers as like these come from my aberrant mark, which is so fucking awesome. I also love aberrant marks, by the way. House
Aberrant marks
Tarkanin
are
has done
fucking
nothing
cool.
wrong. Yeah, I love aberrant marks, my beloved. Honestly,
Tarkanin has done nothing
no,
wrong.
never. They're victims, and so are their victims.
Hey man, look. I'm a victim,
What
you're a victim.
murder?
Yay.
What about all the people they murdered? What murder? What, the Assassins Guild?
He bore the deaths
No.
of thousands of children.
Slay. No,
That's Jack
honestly,
from Arcane.
if I were to, I think I'm really getting to the point where like I really want to run some like Eberron mini campaigns of like 5 sessions, kind of like the last one, and I would love to do one that is just like all House Tarkanin, all aberrant marks. Like that would be so fun.
Be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
Be
Anyways,
pretty cool.
we should focus on this one for now, though.
Yeah, I guess. A bitch king of Slangmar asks.
God damn.
Oh, no, it's a great
Hell
name.
yeah.
Wow, that's a good one.
Quick, explain how Pathfinder 2e works to a big stupid baby like me.
It's just like D&D,
Yep.
except you can do more cool stuff.
Yep,
That's it.
That's pretty much it.
That's it. It's D&D 5th edition, but cooler
Yeah, well,
in some ways.
so we're only level 1. We don't know yet, but yeah, it's yeah. You could
Honestly, if you can do more, it's cooler.
if you've ever looked at D&D 5e and you're like, man,
I wish I could
yeah,
do more
I
stuff.
wish there was more.
Yeah.
That's Pathfinder 2e.
yeah.
D&D is like a AR reading level of like 5th grade.
Yeah.
Pathfinder's probably like easily like a 10th grade reading
Oh
level.
yeah.
Yeah.
9th or 10th.
The thing with Pathfinder, though, is if you're one of those DMs, it's like, I kind of really like homebrewing and making up a lot of my own stuff. Pathfinder's like, we did it twice over, and then we did it again. And
That's
then,
what
and then
I'm-
we made a whole other book where we did it again 2 more times.
Yeah.
So
That's
whatever
what
your idea
I'm-
was, fuck you, we did it
Yeah,
already.
that's what I'm kind of running into, where it's like I do kind of want to like homebrew some stuff for like magic items and things, but then it's like I don't know how the system works with that yet, because in 5th edition it's kind of easy because it's like if I want a magic item to do something, it can just kind of do something. But in Pathfinder, I don't know, I got to give it like keywords and shit, like and I got to think, I got to
like this
I got to
thing
make
that you
sure
gave me,
I got to
it's
make
the
sure that
same
it doesn't
thing
already
this
exist.
is, but this is worse. So do I have the good one or the bad
Yeah,
one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Nah, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
I
It'll
think
be
it's just
fine.
gonna fit Eberron really well because
agree.
Eberron's just like that. I
agree.
It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Pathfinder, just like 5th edition, but more stuff to do on your turn.
Exactly. I'm gonna try to find one more in here. Bold Consumer asks men.
That was
Men.
the first
Yeah.
thing asked.
That was the
Really?
first
We're
thing.
I think
We're just
it was,
normal men.
I think it was just like,
innocent
We're just
men.
innocent men.
are these people
man.
in these photos men? Because you posted the memes that you made, like War Crimes and Slay, and
Slay.
Team War Crimes and Slay and Roy.
Why is Roy crossed out? Oh, because backstory, right? Yeah.
Did you really not get that?
I didn't really think about it too much. I was planning.
This is Team War Crimes.
No, I got it. I got it now.
Warjack,
I got
and
it.
he's-
I got it. I
what War
got it.
Crimes?
What murder?
None.
Francois Anderson put you up.
Francois.
I am.
Bonjour.
We are right now. Yeah.
Bonjour.
For sure.
Sound the Horn asks, "Good heavens, do you have a favorite D&D novel that you've read, e.g. R.A. Salvatore's Forgotten Realms book or Keith Baker's Eberron books? Perhaps a backup question. Favorite character arc from your D&D campaigns? P.S. Craig, you've been spared this time."
Wow.
Ooh,
Mercy.
twice.
Mercy. So that was like a
Twice.
two-parter, sort of?
Yeah, so like
First one is like what
book,
favorite
and
D&D
then the
book?
favorite character arc from your D&D campaigns. That's really fucking tough.
I will say Keith Baker's Thorn of Brayland series from Eberron is really good. It's about a spy who works for the Braylish Dark Lanterns, which is basically like their intelligence service, as she kind of goes on missions across Eberron to kind of uphold the will of the Braylish crown, and how she kind of has to sometimes go against her own like judgments and her own beliefs about like what is right and wrong because she has to like complete this job for the crown and stuff like that. It's so cool. I think the best one is probably the second one. The first one's really good because it's in Droam. And it's about because the daughters of Sorokatra have called like a summit to potentially get involved in the Treaty of Thronehold. What was that? But got it. But the second one is she infiltrates House Tarkanan and she has like this fake aberrant mark that the Dark Lanterns have put on her so that like House Tarkanan would take her in. She basically goes undercover and she starts to like develop like legitimate like relationships and friendships with these people that are in it, and she's like, I have to betray these people at the end of the day. Like it's a great book. The third one is pretty cool. I haven't read it all yet, but
When are we watching Attack on Titan? Anyways,
because
cool.
I've already got so much brain power dedicated to Eberron lore.
Him. That'll make sense later.
Okay.
I haven't really read any D&D books.
I don't know how to read.
The Dragonlance books are fun
you
too.
do.
It's tough.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
I know what you read.
I do read. I know.
Whoa.
You
I
both
do
read.
one- yeah.
You both read the same shit.
My guy reads the Destiny grimoires.
I do. Yeah. I read that or
It's smut.
something has to happen.
Fanfic
like,
smut?
like
Yeah.
15 sentences or I'm disinterested.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
However,
Something's gonna pop
If
off.
nothing's popping off before like
Yeah,
chapter
yeah.
3, I'm close to the book.
I'm after this. I'm going to my friend's house who live in the country, and a new series just came out, and she bought us both one. So
Oh, what a sweetie.
yeah,
That's great.
I know.
favorite character arc from our games.
Probably Ari.
Yeah. Which one? Which arc? The whole
Just
thing?
the whole thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, solid.
This is hard. But I have one and I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep comparing this to others
Yeah.
and see how I feel about it. Because this has nothing to do with anything like smart. It's just like, this one made me feel things, so I need to make sure that these other ones are going to also make me feel things. But I think the only other one it maybe compares to is Phelan. But Phelan...
There's a bug on your
There's a bug
face.
on my face. Phelan had a cool arc, but I think I just like Phelan as a character rather than his arc. I think I just liked Phelan. Philip was really good, but
Were we not doing our own characters?
I think it was just in general.
Oh, okay. I'm going to rethink about this. Though.
Okay,
Keep going.
Yeah, fucking. I only got like 2 or 3, and some of them aren't even done.
Yeah.
I like Farron too, but it's mostly the end of the game, like the very end of the game. I was like, wow. But yeah, no, I think it's Lazarus.
Solid one. I like
Lazarus makes me feel
Immolation
things.
a lot.
Yeah.
I honestly, it's really fucking.
fuck,
Icewind Dale
Immolation.
slaps so fucking hard all the time. I would say it is Kazera, except I know there's a part 2 coming sometime. So it's like it's not over yet, and I know how I kind of it's almost you could say that about Immolation 2, but hers does like hard stop.
Yeah.
Where there's still some potential for Kazera's. There's a lot of good slappy shit in that fucking game.
It's weird.
It is so
Kickstarter
fucking
for the
good.
for the graphic novel.
Yeah, Kickstarter for the graphic novel.
I will also include Laszlo at least in my top 5, just because he.
Laszlo's had a crazy life.
I really liked what he got to do in Evenfall. It was very cool.
I agree.
Spencer.
Let Jack go.
Okay, good.
I mean, yeah. I think Cores is really cool.
Yeah. I do like she becomes like a little ghost and like haunts Lee there for a while.
That's cool. That's cool. That she got to come back is awesome. I loved what you and Colton did, where like as she leveled up, she would lose a sorcerer level and gain a wizard level.
That was fun.
That was super cool. And then
Represent
that
for
shit.
Reborns. Reborns are so cool.
They are cool.
they are cool.
They're
So
so
cool.
cool.
And that oh shit moment when Colton realized he's like, oh wait, I'm running out of meta magic. Oh no. Yeah.
Wait, go back.
during the Lycus fight. Yeah. Yeah, Laszlo, I don't know. I just always think it's funny how Laszlo is just like a man and then he gets to do like the craziest shit ever.
Phelan is the same, which is why I just really like both of them. Like I love everybody in that game. Like I love the Bastion kids. I love Lilia. I love
I love the
Kurt
Bastion
and,
kids too.
Fucking Kardos too. I really liked. Everybody in that campaign was really awesome. But I'm not biased. I don't pick favorites or anything. But if we're just talking about story and stuff, little guy just being a dude and doing crazy things and walking into the darkness even though that they could potentially die is like my favorite trope. So Phelan and Laszlo fit that, and yeah, I love it.
And I mean, it hasn't totally unfolded yet, but like Mallory's arc is pretty cool.
Let's see.
Little tooting my own horn.
I'm gonna pick a Zeraphis.
I don't know. I just like Mallory.
Currently 0 games in.
Hey, we're technically 1 at this point. By the time people watch this, there's 1. Maybe a Zeraphis dies in the first session.
Fucking game. Oh shit!
Imagine. That'd be nuts.
If we're saying that, can I say the orb then?
Yeah.
The orb, yeah.
The orb.
All right.
Yeah,
No, that's
yeah.
the best one for sure. That's the best one for
Stella's
sure.
gonna be pretty cool.
You know, I can see it. I can see it forming. That she's gonna be doing some crazy shit. At the end
Stella,
of this
yeah.
game. I'm gonna go with Immolation. I think.
Yeah.
And then also I think Kardos.
Yeah,
is
Kardos had a
pretty
really cool story too.
Yeah, those are my ones right now.
It's fucking slappy.
They are.
Fucking
They're
and
slappy.
none of either of those fucking Kardos nor Core were planned. Like
No.
I had planned
That's
from
the
the
best part.
beginning
Yeah.
to play
Yeah,
Core
it is
for
the
the
best
whole
part.
game and had ideas with connections to the Shadowfell that would show up and then eventually connect to Lilia at some point. And then that he died. Core dies, and I'm like, this changes everything now, and I have to rethink a lot of stuff. And then he just like, I'm playing Kardos now. Kardos completely changes everything, and I'm like, so yeah, and then he decides to stay with with Tiamat, which I also didn't tell him to do. Like fucking in real time in that moment, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome! Like God, oh fuck, this is so cool. Yeah, Kardos fucking destroyed me. That was crazy. That was cool. Well, can't wait to fucking terrorize Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever this Ron tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'll
this
terrorize you
Ron,
back.
that Ron.
Yeah, I'm a
I'll-
Eber on my Ron until I last war or whatever.
She Kenneth
fun.
on my drome till I Carnath.
Oh my god. Oh shoot. That's funny.
She Brayland on my Sharn till I drome.
She mourning on my land till Eberron.
There you go. Yeah. She Kyber on my no. She Sybaris on my Eberron till I Kyber. That's what it is.
There you go.
She the mockery on my the Traveler until I the Devourer. That's
Devourer. Oh no, wait. She
is this what this is turning into now?
She seer on my dragon mark till I dreaming dark.
Oh.
All right.